Hi there, my name's Daniel. I'm from Transcona Trailer Sales. I'm going to be showing you through your 2022 Pioneer 171SS. We're just going to start off the back of the unit here. Just notice we are pre-wired for a Furrion rear observation camera. You can talk to our parts department if you were wanting to get hooked up with that. Right at the back corner of the unit here, you do have your spare tire as well as your cable satellite inlet. In the back bumper, you just take this little cover, pull it off. And inside there is your sewer hose. Take note of these two ears here. These are going to be the same two ears that hook up to your sewer outlet. We just keep this stored in the back bumper here to keep that smell out of the unit. In this corner of the unit, as well as all four corners of the unit, you will notice we have stabilizer jacks. The way these work is we do have a tool that I'll show you in the front compartment that it's essentially just a socket that hooks up to here. You run these into the ground. Once the foot contacts the ground, give it another 1/8 to quarter turn just to snug it up, and it's just going to see any bounce. It's going to take away any bounce or sway you see we have in the unit right now. Right in the corner here, we do have your main power plug-in. Just take a note of that little notch there. It lines up with the notch on the trailer side. Plug that in, give it that 1/8 turn to lock it in, and then you got that threaded collar to really lock it down. If you follow that back, we do come to your standard 30 amp plug end. Most campsites should have this and you should be able to plug right on in. But let's say you're at home and you want to run the fridge, or your campsite doesn't have 30 amp service. We do include this 15 amp park adapter with your trailer. It just takes your standard 30 amp end, turns it into a 15 amp end. Just keep a note, you are going down to 15 amps of power, so you can't run something like your air conditioner on this power. Plug it in. Just take note, that green light just is telling you you have a successful power source. If that red light were to be on, that's telling you that you have an issue with your power source and not your trailer. Just a little further towards the front of the unit here, you do have your sewer outlet. If you take this handle, give it a turn, you note these ears here. They line up with those notches. It's the same ears that you have on your sewer hose. You just line those up, give it that turn, locks into place, and you're connected. Now, once you are connected, you do have a gray valve and a black valve. Your black valve is going to be your dirtiest water filled from your toilets, so you're going to want to empty that first, and then you can follow behind that with your gray valve, which is filled from your toilets, or sorry, your sinks and showers, which is typically cleaner water than black water, so it just rinses out that hose that little bit extra. Take a couple more steps towards the unit. You do have your little service port for your hot water heater. You just take that tab, fold it, and this pops down. Take note of your 1 16" drain bolt. If you were to ever want to drain your hot water heater, that's the bolt that'll allow you to do so. When you first get to a campsite, before you ever fire this hot water heater up, you are just going to want to give this pressure relief valve a pull. There should be a shot of water that comes out of there. Right now the unit's winterized, so the tank's empty, so you wouldn't want to be firing that tank up while it's empty because you run the risk of burning out your probes. I'm going to go over a reset procedure inside. The button I'm going to refer to is just right here. Close that up. It's just lining up that notch. I'm just pulling it, twisting it, locks into place. Right down below there, you do have this one will be your fresh tank drain. And these two are going to be your two low point drains. Fresh tank drain, you just twist that. It's going to drain all the water inside your fresh tank. Your low point drains are just going to empty all the water that you have inside your lines. So let's say you're leaving the unit for a while. You don't want the water to go stale or stagnant inside the lines. You just crack these guys open and it allows all the water to drain out of the lines. Another stabilizer jack, like I said. And then you do have your fresh tank fill. Whenever this fresh tank is full, you will get water starting to squirt out the vent. That's just letting you know that it's full. And right down from there is your city water connection. So if you're at a site with service and you don't want to run your water pump, you can just hook a garden hose up to here, turn it on. It's going to pressurize all those lines for you. Inside this compartment here is just some storage. At the front of the unit, you do have this little black box. That is where we store your battery. There's not much in there other than your battery. You got your main propane tank in the front. It's going to be simple barbecue style propane tank. You just open that valve all the way to allow the propane to start flowing to the unit. And then you have your tongue jack. One way's up, one way's down. In this compartment here is where we would include that 25-foot water hose that is included with the unit, and inside here somewhere should be a 15 amp park adapter, which is not, so I'll throw one in there after. This customer also added on a hitch lock. A little more towards the front of the unit, you do notice that you have your furnace exhaust right here underneath the awning. So whenever you are running that furnace, this guy's going to be blowing out hot air. So you aren't going to want to have that blocked by anything because it could melt it. This is just your refrigerator service port. Not much I have to show you there. That is just for if you were to want to service your fridge. And then that is going to be it for this side of the unit, besides the fact that your stairs here work pretty simply. You just grab the give it that pull. The first one will fold down, and then that one just folds down. Open your door. It is on an assist handle, which is nice, so it's not going to allow it to contact that awning whenever you're opening it or closing it. If you take a step on inside, right on your right is your fire extinguisher. That's going to be just like home. Pull the pin and shoot. You do have your light switch right on the wall here. That first switch does turn on the main living space lights. The one next to that's going to turn on your awning LED. And then you do just have that awning button right next to it. Hit that button. Well, you should be able to hit that button and the awning should start making its way out. For some reason that's not working, so I'll have to look into that after the video. Make sure that's working for you before you pick it up. On each side of the bed is cabinets. As well, all the blinds in the unit do just kind of sit where you leave them. So wherever you want them, they'll stay. Slide out button for this unit is just near the back of the unit on the wall here. Hit that button out. Slide out's going to start making its way out. Once that flat slide out's fully extended, you will hear the motors wind up and then cut out. Now, just at the front of the unit again, just take a note. You do have a smoke detector up on the roof here. You got that test reset button right up top. Sometimes the batteries do die on them. It's always good to give that a test. And then right here, you do have a plug-in, a 110 plug-in, as well as your cable satellite outlet. And just the little button here just turns the antenna on the roof. I typically leave it on because it leaves the, it improves radio frequency. There will be a TV backer right here on this wall. And on each end of the bed is two plugins as well as two USB plugins. In the kitchen area of this unit, you do have a nice little stove here. Just keep it in mind, it does run on propane, so whenever you're using it, you are just going to want to have that window cracked. Sometimes it does take a second just to clear all the propanes out of the lines. And to ignite it, you just have to use a lighter. As you can see, sometimes it does take a minute just to clear all that propane out of the lines, but clear all the air out of the propane lines. But you'll see once that air is out, it does just light right on up. Right below that, you do have your main output for your furnace. That's going to be the only place that furnace is putting out air. So if you were to want to get a fan for inside here, just to move that air around, it would be a good idea. Right up above, you have your microwave. That's going to be just like home. Not much I'm going to show you there. And then you do have your refrigerator. So if you open up that freezer door, you do get your main controls for it right up here. Right now it's off. If you turn that button, we currently have this pressed in, so it's going to run, or sorry, we have it depressed, so it is going to run solely on gas. But if you were to press that button in, it's going to go to auto. So it's going to first search for shore power. If shore power is taken away, then it will switch over to gas automatically. If that check light is ever on, that's just telling you that the fridge didn't fire on propane. There's an issue, so you'd have to give us a call. And then right below that is your refrigerator. The temperature control for that is just on this last little fin here. The further you slide this little white fin thing up, the colder the temperature is going to get, and the further you slide it down, the warmer it'll get inside the fridge. Also on this wall here is your thermostat for your heater. So if you slide that all the way to the right, the heater is going to be at its warmest settings. Anywhere in the middle is going to be cooler. And then you do just have a little temperature reading below there. Your air conditioner is just on its own little controls here. So if you turn that once, you're going to go to low fan. The second option as well is low fan. And then you get into high fan. So that at this point, that's just running the fan. There's no cooling involved. Then you get into low cool. So that's essentially just a low fan with the air conditioner on. And then you get into high cool, same thing but with the high fan, and then just turn it all the way back around to off. This little knob here is just a temperature adjuster, but this doesn't have a heater involved, so the red doesn't really do anything. It's just going to be blowing air if you don't have the cool on. Inside the dinette, you do have a light on each end for both the dinette and the couch. They're on their own center push buttons. All the lights in this unit are also on their own center push buttons. So if you don't want them all on, you can turn them on and off as you would want. The couch in this unit does turn into a bed. So you just grab the foot of the couch. It's going to fold out nicely like that. You got a bed. Now you can also turn this into like a kind of a bunk bed by just folding this little wood thing over. And then they do include this nice little mat that's stored nicely behind the couch. You just slide that up. And now you do have sort of like a bunk bed deal in here, which is nice. And it is pretty simple to put back. Just sliding this back behind the couch, folding this up. And then you just grab the foot of that couch and the top and assist it back into place. It locks back into place. Nice and easy. The dinette in this unit also turns into a bed. You're just having to pull these bottom legs out. You got these ledges that the table's going to sit on, and then you just take your back cushions to fill in the center, and you can have another bed here as well. Keeping in mind that this unit, it does, the heater and the stove run off propane. So whenever you are using those, just be mindful that you do have an LP detector right here. If this guy does start going off, propane's heavier than air, this guy's going to start detecting it. You are just going to want to go turn off the main supply of propane off at the front of the unit and open up all the windows just to air it out a little bit. Maybe turning on your overhead fan, which you do have one right above the kitchen here. Just turning that knob's going to open it up, and then you just have a fan switch button in the one corner, and it'll turn that fan on. Just always making sure you want to close that up if it ever starts raining or you're traveling, just so that dust doesn't get in. Right underneath the fridge, you do have your breaker panel. So you push that button, it's going to fold down. Somebody didn't have these fuses pushed in properly, so it's showing they're tripped. But whenever a breaker pops, it's going to sit in the middle, so you just got to turn it off and then back on to reset it. And you can see whenever a fuse pops, you're going to have a little red indicator light telling you which one's popped, so you just have to replace that with a new one. It does appear that these fuses may have been messed with for a show reason. I'll look into that after this video as well. And then you do just have your entertainment system right here with another TV backer in the wall to mount a TV if you want to do so. You do have storage on each side of that, as well as a plug-in for USB and 110. And then inside here just is your bathroom with hot and cold water. On the wall, you will notice your main GFI plug. If you ever have an outlet that doesn't work, this would be the first place I would check. You got test in the middle and test on the left and reset in the middle. So whenever you have a plug that doesn't work, that would just be the first place I would look. And then you do have your monitor panel with your controls to turn on your water pump and your water heater. So that water pump switch, just turn it on. It's going to turn your water pump on, which draws from your fresh tank. And then you can fire up with your water heater on either gas or electric. Whenever you do fire it up with gas, you're going to hit that button. This DSI fault light's going to first come on. And at that point, the heater's going to try and light itself 3 times. If on the third try it doesn't light, the DSI fault light will stay on. So at that point, you just have to turn this switch off, go to the service port and hit that black button I showed you earlier. and it'll reset itself, and then you can try again. And then just for your monitor system, you just hit that button. It's going to show you your battery. So it'll either be low 11.2, 11.7, or 12.3. 11.2 being the lowest you're going to want to let it get. And then you have your fresh, your black, and your gray, and it just goes empty, a third, 2/3, and full. And I will show you that at the front of the unit, underneath the mattress for the bed, if you lift it up, you do have a nice little storage area where you could store blankets. And inside this little cover here, you pull this open. It does give you access to your bypass controls for your water heater, as well as access to your water pump, so you can hook up that antifreeze line. That's going to be it for this unit here. If you have any other questions, feel free to give us a call.